Hello, Kapil. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you, Richard?
Yeah, good, thank you. Yeah, just middle of the festival, so we've had a couple of days of interesting events here, and now the online night tonight. Very excited about it, and happy that you could participate in the festival again. Sorry that you can't be here again, but I hope one year it will be possible to actually bring you physically to the festival. That
Yes,
was
yes, sure.
that was your kind of plan this year, right? And then we worked on this in this online way again, but it's not your perfect uh, form, is it?
No, it's not.
Were you doing a bit of online work now over the pandemic?
A little bit. Some work I have done online. Okay, mostly now I am doing work physically.
Okay, you're in the rehearsal room quite a bit these days, is it?
Yes, kind of.
Okay, that's great. So the what you sent us, Need, Demand, Desire, uh, it seems to
Mhm.
be quite a lot of work on the stage or in the rehearsal room with actors. Can you tell us a
Yes.
bit about the work that you were doing in the last weeks and about your collaborators as well?
So I will start with the collaborators. So there are two other performers with me. One is Dipali. She's mainly theater practitioner, uh, and she has her own group. And another one is Mehreen. Mehreen is also an actor. He works professionally in TV series, movies, and on stage. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
So, and in I can tell you, I start with the process. Okay? So, um, the this year's themes is kind of related to my thoughts, and the work is also about my thoughts, which I am continuously experiencing throughout the pandemic, especially when I stopped working and when I was I was at my home. Then I was not able to um, go into the rehearsal room and practice. So that's when it started. And the idea of mainly the thought of murder, the thought of genocide, the thought of war, and the thought of mm, suicide, self-murder. So it keeps coming to me back again and again throughout the pandemic. So on that, I basically discussed with my performers for almost around 20 days. And after that, we started working on the idea. And mostly we discuss. So mainly, my idea is to mainly that the theme, the main idea should be clear in the mind. So that's why I discuss mostly with the performers. And after that, we started to rehearse, which was kind of tough because we didn't do this in last 2 years. So it was tough to working. It was tough to uh, make your body present there and then work with that. So it was tough. Mm, Now you ask question.
No, yeah, you were working a lot with the body as well, but uh, something like the body memory is maybe disappears over the pandemic, right? When you get back into the
Yes.
rehearsal room again, it's hard to remember the habits that you had and even the preparation.
It takes time.
Yeah,
It takes time to remember.
yeah.
That's what I am experiencing the last 20 days.
So it was over the last 20 days, your rehearsal process, pretty much?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And can you tell us about, it seems heavy on symbolism and gesture in the performance. Actually, it's a mostly
Yes.
silent performance, and then a
Yes.
kind of barrage or flood of text happening directly at the end. Uh, what was the choice to communicate more with gesture than with words, except at the end with this kind of flood of words? Uh, is that just how it worked out?
Yeah, it's mainly it's how it worked out. When we doing the rehearsals and then we discussed, so we decided that we keep it that way, that we use mostly gestures
Yeah.
and all. Then in the end, I felt that there should be some words and dialogues or poetry or anything can which will help the idea to understand. So that's why in the end I use kind of poetry, not exactly, but kind of words and poetry.
Yeah. And as I read the metaphors of gesture, there were several that refer to, I guess, different ways of not having enough. For example, I read some exhaustion gestures,
Yes,
some types of collapse, and then a type of carrying or dragging happening. Uh,
yes.
is that kind of uh, yeah, or do you want to elaborate a bit about those gestures and what they mean?
Those gestures are basically about need, mainly about need. They started from the need, and it's I I I I deliberately make them improper, so that they show that it's not you didn't get completely anything. It's like every need becomes turns into demand, and then every demand turns into desire, and it's not fulfilled. And or the improperness of the action also shows that the how brain works, how the corners of brain do you can't possibly reach every part of your brain. How what is conscious, what is subconscious, and how those related to the need and the demand and the desires, and also with the idea of enjoy and suicide and murder.
Is that also the metaphor of the image that you use to represent your work? It's kind of some ropes that's like in a pile together, looks a little bit like a brain to me. Is that kind of where that
Yes,
comes from as well? Connection to
yes,
the
yes,
subconscious?
yeah, that is definitely coming from the subconscious. I deliberately I found those in my house. So when I first saw that those um, thread, and it's trying to look like it's part of the brain. So that's why then I took the photograph of the that, and which I signed you for the poster. And I think so, yeah, definitely it comes from the subconscious idea of the brain.
And are they the same chords as, or the same cables as the ones you use in the performance, can I ask? Because there's one point of the performance where two or at times three of the actors are kind of connected together by some cords or cables of some kind.
Yes, they are the same ones.
Okay, cool. Um, yeah. Uh, so it seems like, yeah, you're talking again about I guess, yeah, starvation uh, and the way that uh, the well, if I could say, my reading of your work is that it's very involved in the ethics of global production. Uh,
Yes.
you want to talk about, yeah, how that metaphor of um, the ethics of global production can be represented on stage, both as you've tried it here and as you've tried it in the past with food production, for example, but not only, it feels like not only food production, right?
I think that, for example, I used some cloudy image in the background picture the projector in my work. So I think we can show with the sounds of mm, these global starvation and mm, I didn't find I'm not finding the exact word to say, so I'm thinking it's important to show these global starvations ideas about the every kind of, for example, gas is the biggest problem these days. Oil is one of the biggest problem. Food is always there, one of the biggest problem. And water is one of the biggest problem which keeps developing and developing and developing. He shows actually, I think that these ideas should be shown directly, not indirectly, because people need to get hurt. People need to get hurt. That's when they realize that is important. Otherwise, I think when we show these ideas indirectly or in in any other way which is not hurting the person who is watching the image or who is watching the performance, they didn't get it. I think. Am
Yeah,
I
you.
able to answer your questions, or you
Yeah,
want
yeah.
to?
I will extend a bit. I mean, you've got some lines inside the performance in the text part right at the end. Uh, how many children died so you can eat chocolate on the cocoa fields and things like this. So trying to connect the experience of the consumer eating a product or consuming a product and the labor of production and the cost of the labor of production, if you like. Um, and I guess that is important in India context or in the Delhi context, maybe specifically, where you have an emerging consumer class and
Yes,
people are not necessarily, sorry, yeah.
In Indian context it is. In Indian context it is.
And you don't necessarily have a ethical consciousness about the cost of consumption, right?
Yeah.
So you're kind of drawing
So I'm
attention
glad
to,
that
sorry.
you got that much from my performance.
Well, it's my job. I try. I am not always able
Yes,
to fulfill the demand, but um, yeah, I mean, and even the very last line, which is you keep on roaring more, more, more. Will you keep on screaming enough, enough, enough? Is a nice, I think, a nice summary for us about what we are trying to talk about in the festival. Actually, that it's the
so
infinite demand of
poem is
capitalism. Sorry.
this poem is written by Dipali, which is one of the co-performer in the performance. All these lines are written by her.
Oh,
I
great! All
guided
of the
her.
end part. Yeah. Sorry.
She wrote all of these.
Yeah.
She did a very good job.
Yeah. Fantastic. Um, yeah. I mean, it's a nice summary for us about when we try to talk about systems of capital that always demand more. And people's wanting to push back against this and to, let's say, draw some lines and show some resistance against this at certain points where it becomes unmanageable or impossible to meet the demand. Uh, Maybe lastly, do you have some future in mind for the work? I guess that you were rehearsing it in Delhi, and it feels like it's a stage performance that you have
Yes,
filmed, but you're working on something for the stage, right?
yes. Yes. I will work with this idea in future. I will work on this idea, and it's turned out good. So I am thinking of it keep developing this into more. Mm, I'm thinking of keep adding some more things into this ideas, and then make it around a 1 hour performance. Now it's 38 minutes.
And are you thinking about showing this in Delhi or touring it a little bit?
I'll try. I'll send to the festivals and to the theaters if they like it and they want to do this, then I will definitely do the performance.
Great. Well, yeah, certainly a lot of solidarity from me for the work. Thank you for your participation in the festival, and to your two collaborators. Please pass on our thanks. And yeah,
Sure, sure.
we hope to continue the relationship with you in the future. And
Yes, sure, sure, sure.
wish you well. Okay.
Thank you, same to you.
Okay. Ciao.